year one, your first ever camp as you're the man. You're not just the guy in charge of the offense, all that kind of stuff. How's it been so far?
I really like being a position coach and just a coordinator. With the head coach and stuff, it's all just getting used to the paperwork, the dealing with the parents, dealing with every single kid and every single issue they have, and all the fun stuff that comes along with being a head coach that, I've seen other guys do it for years and been able to say, hey, that's why you get paid the big bucks. And it's less football and more administration. So that's definitely the biggest adjustment.
Is it something you're still excited about? Like, I can't wait to lead the team out in the field, and it's my team.
Yeah, I'm excited. But no matter what position I'm in, even if I was just the offensive line coach or a receivers coach, I was just as invested whether I was the head coach or not. And I've been fortunate to work for a bunch of good guys, and so I was always loyal to those guys. And I guess I'm the hardest thing for me is the attention, actually. So in a way, my name being out there and all just kind of it feels funny to me more than anything.
Overall thoughts on the team heading in, because the good part is you're not somebody's coming in with a complete, like, I don't know who the right guard is or anything like that.
Right.
You were here last year. You ran the offense last year. Mm-hmm. Overall thoughts on the team heading into the season?
We are very, very young going into the year. We have 2 true returners on offense, and we have 3 true returners on defense. We are laden. We're full with sophomores. We have sophomores and juniors starting. Now, some of those kids rotated and played a little bit last year. And I know a lot of the kids from the school year having PE with them, working them out. The kids are excellent kids. They're a pleasure to coach. I always tell people all the time, I've been here 2 years. There's never been one thing stolen since I've been here, which is amazing. We have little to no discipline problems. They work really, really hard. But we're young, so even though we are returning and it is a lot of the same kids, you still have those young guy issues as far as execution and trying to teach the little things and that kind of stuff. And going into the year, it's kind of good taking over with a young team, because next year that team will be back, and really the following year that team will be back.
Expand on that a little bit, because I talked to Fontainebleau yesterday with Coach Blocker, and he was talking about how he has young players at key positions, and the fun part is you put your time in, and then you get to reap the rewards for years to come. It's not like I just put my time in, and then at the end of the year, they're in a cap and gown walking in and they're gone. Right. How excited are you of, I can teach them the game and then watch them grow and help us win football games?
Absolutely. I mean, that's the best thing about coaching is being able to have a kid and you see what he is as a freshman and see what he becomes after 4 years of lifting, after 4 years of running the program, and that's what Pearl River's lacked for years, is just consistency. We've actually trimmed a lot of fat. A lot of older kids that were around that weren't buying into the program, buying into what we're doing. It's not necessarily about the team, it's about a program. So we're kind of holding the kids to a standard of they have to show up for practice, they have to do the right thing, they have to work hard, or they're not going to be able to play. And so the problem is you want to be able to get all the kids at the same time in the same positions. So last year we graduated a bunch of offensive linemen. And so this year we're coming back with a brand new offensive line. And you don't ever want to have an experienced backfield with a young offensive line or vice versa. So the good thing, like you said, is at least you're going to see, for the most part, see them grow together. We do have a couple of seniors mixed in there that we'll lose for next year, but hopefully those other younger kids will be able to fill spots.
All right, let's start on that offensive line. You said it's young. Tell me some of the players that you expect to contribute and it be in that rotation.
Okay, first off, we had Blake Baird. Blake is a kid last year. He was a sixth man, and he and another kid rotated. They would go games in every series. They would rotate based on what we were doing. Blake was good at one thing. The other kid was good at another thing. And so we kind of rotated him. So he has some playing experience, and he's returning. He's a big old joker, and he's gotten stronger. He's had a good year. And then inside, it's all sophomores. Mostly sophomores. I have a sophomore guard, Nick Schmedra. Center is going to be Nick Schmedra. One guard is John Parker. Both of those guys are sophomores. The other guard is a kid that played fullback for us last year, who is athletic. He can run, and out of necessity, we moved him from the backfield to the offensive line. So although he's a returner, he's new at the position that he's in because of all the people that we lost up front. Robert Bosch, definitely real big that Bosch was able to do that for us and what we do. Guard is one of the most important positions on the field. And he's done a really good job, and he's athletic, and he's going to be able to do things that a lot of offensive linemen aren't going to be able to do. At the right tackle, we have a kid that just moved in from North Carolina. His name's Jonathan Hill, who's also going to be a sophomore as well at that right tackle spot. And he's kind of battling out with a couple other kids. We have a real big freshman that's come in that's looking really good, Isaac Rushing, but he's probably not going to be ready, but he'll be a guy that'll probably take Blake's spot next year, and that whole line will be back. And then at tight end, we have a kid, Skylar Stiglet, and we're multiple formations, but Skylar's a kid that played a little bit last year as well, who's back, but not a full-time guy.
All right. Before we start talking about Justin and in your backfield, who's he going to be able to throw the ball to? Who are you looking for to step up at those positions at wide receiver? You mentioned tight end a little bit, but at X and Y, who do you like?
Okay, we have a kid, Ethan Levy. Ethan's going to be a junior, and Ethan played a little bit last year, rotated in, kind of a rotation guy, and he's put on 25 pounds in the off season. We've been going to Pascal camps and that kind of thing, and he's done a really, really good job as far as he's a good route runner. He's a smart football player, and he's able to kind of understand the system. So he's there. We have another kid that transferred in, KJ O'Neal, who also is going to be a sophomore, and KJ is a big, tall kid. Obvious learning curve there, but he's a big body. He's a kid that's going to grow. We're excited about him going forward in the future. We have another kid, Ethan Martinson, who played corner last year and is actually come over to play receiver. He's a slot guy. He's going to be our jet guy. He's going to be he's a Wes Welker type. He's a small guy, but he's really, really quick. He's got really solid hands and a good route runner. We took another defensive back, Tyreek Hopkins, and Tyreek is going to be a senior as well as a fourth slot guy.
In the backfield, we know, we've talked about this during the summer, Justin being back, and then first off, before we talk about running backs, is he healthy? Because that was his biggest worry. I remember when I was talking to Justin, it was, I broke it, came back too quick, didn't come back correctly, and then broke it again. From what you've seen now, and granted, he hasn't been hit by another opponent or anything like that, does he look like he's back and he's good to go?
He's put on right at 30 pounds in this off season. So he's much bigger. He was thin as a rail. He started as a true freshman. I think he was like 125 to 130 pounds.
Yeah, he was like 14.
Yeah, and 14 years old. Last year, going in, he was like 145, 150, and he's 175 right now. So and hit all of his lifts and everything. He's gotten a whole lot stronger, and he's trying to prepare his body that way. But he's a tough nut. He's one of those kids that we say, Justin, get down, get out of bounds, throw it away. And he's one that kind of wants to make it happen, and so we're hoping for him that he's able to start understanding taking care of his body, protecting himself a little bit. Behind him too, we have a young quarterback who was I'm not kidding, he was probably 5'1", probably 115 pounds last year. So when Justin went down, he was the backup. So that's what we brought Ricky over to play quarterback last year. But that kid is now grown. Now he's like 5'7", 5'8", and about 140, which is not huge, but for him, that is considerably great. And Christian Kaczynski's his name. Again, he's going to be a sophomore, young guy, and he has a really good understanding of the game. Smart kid, can operate. So if that's necessary. You
talked about moving a running back to offensive line. Who's back there still in the backfield now?
Okay, well, last year, we had Austin Stoddard. Last year, our running backs were Austin Stoddard, Courtney Moore, and a kid, Jacob Gudeman, who graduated. Behind them was a guy that rotated in. Corey Warren is his name. Corey's going to be a sophomore, and we're very, very, very excited about Corey. Corey's kind of got that it. He's got that vision. He can see a lot, and he's big. He's bigger than Courtney. He's about 5'11", 6 foot, but he's about 205. And he's jacked up, and he's going to be a sophomore. He runs real hard. He practices real hard. We're very, very excited about him. And so Corey kind of growing up that way, we needed help defensively. So Austin's actually playing linebacker and will spell in the backfield because he knows the system already and has done that. Defensively, the same thing. Our strong safety, Matt Elsenson, played strong safety last year, but also played some running back as a sub last year, and they'll also serve as backups for Corey and Courtney.